any U.S. assets.
We're doing very well. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yes, Caroline.
All right, question about whether or not Iran is targeting any U.S. assets. I believe the president's response was, we are doing very well. John.
That exactly was his response. He doesn't seem to want to talk about it right now. He did talk about Iran at length and Israel at length when they were putting up that flagpole a couple of hours ago. The president not tipping his hand one way or the other if he plans on joining in the airstrikes against Iran, saying, I may do it, I may not. Nobody knows. Nobody knows except him. We're going to be talking with Israeli officials about whether or not they need to have the U.S. join in, particularly if they want to get rid of that Fordo enrichment facility, because unless there is a ground operation or some other kind of airstrike that nibbles away at that facility, the only thing that really could get to the depths of the centrifuge halls would be those giant 30,000-pound massive ordnance penetrators that the United States is the sole owner of.
And all of this happening as we just saw Trey Yanks just a few moments ago in the last hour, John, as the Israeli military instructed residents to leave protected areas, signaling this threat from the Iranian attack is over. But they were still intercepting missiles, as Trey was reporting a short time ago. So this ceremony happening at the White House, John, we were watching for this. We were not given a precise time, but it did pop up. We were able to have that for everybody, and we know there will be another ceremony happening shortly, and we'll keep watching for that.
All right. In the meantime, this.
Right now overhead, you can see some of these interceptions taking place. My cameraman's going to pan up here, and you're going to see those white streaks in the sky. That is a successful interception. It's a little bit difficult to see given the fire and the sunlight at this moment, but we're just going to come off the sticks here, and we're going to walk. Just give us one moment. Good to wait? Okay.
As we just mentioned, this was happening in Tel Aviv moments ago, where sirens had just sounded off. Trey Yanks right in the middle of all of it on the ground in Tel Aviv for us. What's the latest from there? Hi, Trey.
Yeah, Sandra, as the president started that ceremony, the Iranians were launching ballistic missiles into Israel. This came after another barrage last night of around 30 missiles targeting major population centers. The vast majority of them were intercepted by advanced air defense systems. Here's what the scene was like last night amid that incoming fire. Right now, there are ballistic missiles being fired at Israel's second largest city of Tel Aviv. Currently, missile defense systems are working to shoot down the incoming fire. We are going to take some cover here as this unfolds. You can see in the distance interceptor rounds coming off, trying to shoot down. Pull it off the tripod. And let's move inside. The flash there in the sky, explosions overhead. And again, this is the third barrage. These barrages are getting smaller, prompting Israel's Home Front Command to reduce restrictions for civilians here. Work will resume for businesses that have shelters, but schools will remain closed. As the war enters its sixth day, Iran's supreme leader made his first televised remarks since the new conflict began, directly contradicting President Trump's calls for an unconditional surrender.
The Iranian nation stands firm against the imposed war, as it has stood so far, and stands firm against the imposed peace. The Iranian nation will not surrender to anyone in the face of imposition.
With no end in sight, Israel is ramping up airstrikes against Iran, targeting dozens of new positions overnight. Fox News has learned new details about a strike earlier this week that took out IRGC Major General Ali Shadmani. An Israeli official says that on Monday night, a secret command center located in the mountains outside of Tehran was targeted, killing dozens of IRGC operatives. Among them were several senior commanders who fled from the location to another hideout in Tehran. This source says the commanders were tracked to the new location and then taken out. It has been described to us as an effort to hunt down these IRGC officials, as the question remains, will the United States get more directly involved in this conflict? Sandra?
All right, Trey Yanks live in Tel Aviv for us. Trey, thank you very much. We'll see you again soon. John?
All right, Sandra, back to Israel now. Ron Dermer is the former Israeli ambassador to the United States, now serves as Israel's Minister of Strategic Affairs. Mr. Ambassador, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Good to meet you, John.
So the Ayatollah is talking tough a little while ago, dismissing President Trump's demands for unconditional surrender. This was the word out of Tehran.
The Iranian nation will not surrender to anyone in the face of imposition. The Zionist enemy has made a big mistake, committed a big crime, and must be punished, and is being punished. The damage America will suffer if it makes a military intervention in this field will undoubtedly be irreparable.
So he's talking tough, and it takes me back more than 20 years when Saddam Hussein was talking tough as well, right up until his regime collapsed.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I also would say that I don't think the supreme leader speaks for the people of Iran. I think 70–80% of the people of Iran hate him, hate the regime. This regime has been at war with countries throughout the region, has been at war with the United States since it came to being in 1979 when it took over that American embassy and took people hostage, Americans hostage for 444 days. When they had their proxy, Hezbollah, bomb the U.S. Marine barracks in Beirut, when they attacked U.S. embassies in Africa, and probably the biggest price was when they had their militias put all those IEDs under the vehicles to bomb your servicemen and women who were fighting in Iraq. And there's a lot of people who have been maimed and killed because of the orders of that man that you just saw on the screen. So I don't think that President Trump is going to take his threat seriously. And I think President Trump has been very clear that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, period. And I think he means what he says.
But the one thing that he's playing his cards very close to his vest on is whether or not the United States joins with Israel in hitting some strategic sites from the air. This is what the Wall Street Journal editorial board published today on that front. They say, quote, if the U.S. won't help one of its strongest and most loyal allies finish the job of eliminating Iran's nuclear threat in uncontested airspace, the message to China will be that there is no chance the U.S. will defend Taiwan. Everyone will see it, from the Kremlin's commissars to the communist bosses in Beidaiha. I know that Israel's not going to outright ask publicly for U.S. help in this, but would U.S. assistance be of value to you?
Look, that's an American decision, John, and you said that the president likes to keep his cards close to his vest. That's exactly what a president should do, and I think he wants to keep all his options open. So I think you'll just have to hear from him what he wants to do. I think he's going to do what he believes is in the American interest. That's what he was elected to do, and that's what he'll do. And I think he understands that America is an enemy of Iran. You know, they call Israel the little Satan. They call America the great Satan. Mm-hmm. These guys in Iran, they ordered a hit on the president of the United States, on President Trump. So I don't think he's going to be scared by the leader of Tehran and what he says, the leader of Iran. And as I said again, look, America is not at war with the people of Iran. Israel is not at war with the people of Iran. We've had a great relationship with the people of Iran before this regime came to power in 1979. And we can have a great relationship, and so will the American people, with the people of Iran after this regime goes into the dustbin of history. But that's ultimately going to be up to the Iranian people to do, not Israel, not America, or not anybody else.
All right, so you have degraded, to a large degree, Iran's capabilities to enrich uranium, but the one facility left standing, we believe untouched at this point, is the big Fordo enrichment facility that can enrich, at this point, Iranian uranium up to about 60%. It's not too far from there to 90%, which is weapons grade. The United States really could help out with those massive ordnance penetrators to get to those big centrifuge halls buried deep beneath the mountain. But the question is, could Iran do it? Could Israel do it on its own? Earlier today, we had Dan Senor, a man that you know well, on our air. Here's what he said about Israel's possibility of taking out Fordo.
They say they have capabilities to do Fordo. The U.S. definitely has the capacity to do Fordo. I think Israel's capabilities are probably there, but they will be messy and they will take longer. And I think the U.S., if the U.S. participated in some way, would be a much cleaner shot.
So does Israel have a contingency with Fordo if America does not weigh in?
Well, what I would say, John, I'm not going to discuss an operational issue, but I think at this point, after what we've seen Israel do with our pilots in the last few days in Iran, and what we saw Israel do to Hezbollah a few months ago, nobody should underestimate the capabilities of Israel. We have set out on a mission. The Prime Minister made the goals of this war very clear. We're going to make sure they're going to remove the threat of Iran's military nuclear capability, and we're going to make sure that we remove the threat of their ballistic missile capability, those giant missiles that they're firing into our civilian population centers. On the nuclear side, we took out the Natanz site. We took out the conversion site in Isfahan. We've taken out R&D sites, centrifuge manufacturing sites, and in the first minutes of this battle, we took out the top scientists in Iran, those who were working on the Iranian equivalent of the Manhattan Project, where they were going to build an Iranian bomb. And for us, we have a regime in Iran that openly calls and actively works to destroy the state of Israel. So when people are telling you that they're going to destroy you, don't give them the weapons to achieve that goal. That's what we did on the nuclear side. On the ballistic missile side, our pilots are working to degrade those capabilities. We're taking out launchers. We've got drones in the air hunting them down to make sure that you have fewer and fewer missiles being fired at us to diminish their capabilities. But we're also dealing with the manufacturing capabilities of
We're
those
live
missiles.
watching Fox News.
Are not just pointed at Israel. They can be pointed at Europe.
You guys are hearing.
And even
You guys
beyond
are hearing.
Europe. And they're trying to get greater and greater range of those missiles. And that manufacturing capability also deals with the short-range missiles that affects all of our Arab neighbors in the region. So John, you've interviewed a lot of people in the region over the years. And believe me, whatever they're saying publicly, our Arab neighbors are rejoicing at what is happening in Tehran because they want us to succeed. They want Israel to succeed. They may not say it publicly, but they are definitely saying it privately.
I mean, yes, certainly we've seen public sentiments, but we know that there are private sentiments that sometimes are 180 degrees opposite to what they're saying in public. Ambassador Dermer, thank you so much for kicking us off today. Really appreciate your time, sir. We know you're very busy.
Thank you.
All right. Now this.
It is very reminiscent of what we saw before in the city of Aurora. But the difference is we are not going to allow this to gain momentum.
Oh boy, here we go again. A violent Venezuelan gang once again accused of terrorizing a Colorado.
What's good? What's good? We're live watching Fox News. You guys can hear what's going on. There's a lot going on. We'll maybe come back to this when they're talking about. Yeah, all that's live. All that's going on. The ceremony. There's a ceremony going on. You saw the ceremony, raising the flag. Shortly before that, or as that ceremony was happening, more missile strikes. Iran, Israel, and even last night. It's causing interesting market climate, interesting market weather, we could say. Definitely an interesting market environment. A lot going on. We're gonna do some analysis on gold. FOMC's in a little bit. I have some news coming out over the next hour. Keep a little track on that. Doing good, doing good. I'm looking at the chat right now. What are you guys saying in the chat? Happy beautiful day. Weather. Let's see how gold goes today. Iran said it's preparing something for tonight, like a surprise attack the world never seen before. Like right now, it's nighttime over there. Stock market is closed tomorrow. Interesting timing of everything that's going on. Stock market's closed. FOMC's today. Trump came out 3 hours ago. President Trump says the Federal Reserve probably won't cut today, and Chair Jerome Powell is not a smart guy. So that was his remarks this morning, earlier today, 3 hours ago. President Trump, am I allowed to appoint myself head of the Fed? I'd do a much better job than Powell. Well, they're probably not going to do the rate cuts today, but they could. It's September, August, September, end of the year, or going into the last quarter of the year. I mean, later on, summertime, when everybody, when there's more data to come out. There's more data to come out to the market in the summer, going into August, September. They might even cut the rates multiple times, by more than just. Usually, when they cut the rates, they go by basis points. They usually go by 25 basis points. Maybe their plan is to cut the rates by more basis points later on. All other central banks, the BOC, the ECB, European central banks, they've been cutting their rates. USA is the one, like Donald Trump, he's the president, obviously. He's really pushing for that. Could come later. It's projected that after summertime. Probably not gonna get anything unless there's a surprise today. But like Trump said today, probably won't cut rates. We'll see what that does to the market. Crypto's been pretty spooky. Bitcoin's still at 104. It kind of shows you there's way more dominance in Bitcoin compared to everything else. Way more staying power there, stronger. If you spend most of your time buying like altcoins, like if you spend most of your time putting most of your money in altcoins, you might not see so much of that money at certain periods, especially like you've seen the long-term effect on Bitcoin, especially versus other coins. It's good to stack. There's a lot of good coins in crypto to stack, but it's times to stack them. And getting ahead, like having, it's always good to have Bitcoin, as you can see. If you spend most of your time just accumulating alts, you might be in situations where you see Bitcoin is ahead of everything. There's some coins that pump, some that don't. If you look at, if you take like the top 20 or top 30 coins, let's say the top 30, and you look at the crypto market cap, and you take like the top 30 coins, most like top 20, top 10. Think about it. Bitcoin has 2 trillion, Ethereum. So where is the value at when you look at a list? This goes to how many coins? Fucking 9,600 and something. And you look at the current market cap of all the coins, $3.2 trillion. But if you were to measure that 3.2 trillion just in the top 10 or the top 20 or the top 30, you might, obviously the percentage goes out. Like if you're looking at the top 10, you're looking at the market cap of crypto. You're looking at the top 10. Where's the value really at? If you were to add up all of this, if you were to add up 2 trillion, 300 billion, this, just in the top 10, there's a lot of that value is there, right? Most of it is obviously in Bitcoin than Ethereum. So you have to pick wisely what you're spending most of your time buying, how you're spending most of your time. Like if you're just aggressively buying alts all the time, meme coins all the time, trying to get 10x, trying to get pumps, alt season will come at a time when maybe like at a time where it'll make sense. It'll come later. But if you're spending most of your time just trying to find coins that will always 10x, you might not see so much of the value of your money, right? In some situations, especially if you're pushing so far out. Consider what I just said. Especially if you're pushing so far out of like the top 100 coins, right? If you're pushing so far out, because remember what I just said. There's a good lesson there. Think about the $3.2 trillion that's in the market cap right now. You could take the top 20. Basically, I'd like to say top 30 because there's some good coins in the top 8. Aave, yeah. And I don't like that coin. PI, no, number 29, nah, not that. Pepe, yep. 30 is a good coin. 29, nah. Pepe, good. Uniswap, good. I don't know about the BitGet token. Polkadot, good. XMR, for me, meh. HBAR, good. Litecoin, maybe a sleeping giant, and it'll surprise us in the future. Shiba, meh. I prefer other coins, meme coins, but upon that, dog with hat would be better. Toncoin, Telegram coin, that's a good coin. Avalanche, good coin. Stellar, good coin. Chainlink, good coin. Sui, good project, but a lot of like FUD around it right now. A lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt around that ecosystem right now. A lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt with that. Hyper, good coin. Top 10, all good coins, right? like if you look at like if you stretch it out, obviously there's good coins we can find. Stretch out. Like you don't want to go too far spread out. I would say you gotta look at where the value's at. That's how I like to pick them. What's gold gonna do today? Well, honestly like the market. Gold's been interesting this week. Obviously, fucking what a week. What a week. Look at this. So it's been an interesting week with gold. We could say the least. Yeah, that's so far the week. It looks like it's waiting for today. It's waiting for FOMC from the looks of it. What could it do today? We're gonna break that down shortly here. Actually, we got some time. What are they talking about on Fox News? Some ads? It's because I didn't have it playing. Talking about wage growth, other stuff. FOMC comes out. Don't know how it's going to impact the market. They might not do a rate cut from the looks of it. It's probably going to happen after the summer, going into the end of the year, more than likely. So it seems. Gold, I've been bullish on gold. With gold, I'm bullish on gold. My bias is bullish on gold. We were watching a bit of Fox News at the beginning here. They're not talking about what they were before. This is still live. There's a lot of geopolitical tension in the world right now. Geopolitical conflict, as those of you guys who were on at the beginning, we've been on for a little bit now. You've seen, right? And you obviously know. You guys, unless maybe you're living under a rock, maybe you don't know. So interesting times, obviously. Been bullish on gold. I can break down why for you guys that are tuning in. I've been more bullish on gold, obviously, because of what's going on, the situation's going on. FOMC could bring it down. It's spent the last couple of days just like if it was an FOMC today, I'd be like, yo, we're looking for clear buys here, you know, to maybe go back up to this supply here, maybe back to the highs. Like if FOMC wasn't coming out, I'd be like, yo, we're looking for clear buys, right? FOMC, since it's been here since pretty much Monday, you know, Friday finished right there. You know, Friday finished up here and it pumped up, dumped down, bearish little 3 peaks, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Tends to happen. Does that a lot. 1, 2, 3. Like the 3 peaks on the sell side. Do it another day. Talk about it another day. Yeah, with FOMC today, obviously we'd be looking for clear buys because if this is just a regular day and price was like this, there you go. This is looking like accumulation since Monday. Last week down, accumulate middle week, maybe like midweek reversal. Could be buys even tomorrow. If price could go down, take out all these lows. Some of you guys might be in buys. I've been in buys the whole week. Closed some positions, re-entered. In and out. Pretty much, you know, it's done the same thing all week. These lows here, so we have these lows here, right? We could see on price. It's spent a lot of time, you know, here. Maybe gathering positions. It could be accumulation. Could be a lot of stop losses, obviously, under those lows. So depending on how volatile FOMC really is, right? If it could dump down, that would be like the first kind of way of thinking. You want to think like if you're trading news or you're looking for a setup or you're watching the news, maybe just see what the market does. You might kind of got to think of the bottom line too, especially if you have your bias. Like if I'm bullish, it's like, okay, I'm bullish on price, but look at what price has been doing for the last couple of days here, right? Tapping. It's definitely been interesting. Let me see something. Yep. It's spent a lot of time here to give, like, a lot of buyers are probably in here. There's a lot of demand for gold right now because of the whole Iran-Israel situation going on. Inner Circle, if you want some details on that, I'll talk about it soon, shortly. Give you guys some details. Yeah, we have these lows here, all these equal lows, kind of like a lot of support here. So, but my bottom line thinking is kind of like they could try to take out all these lows, right, on the news. If it's very volatile, like the market flushes down, grabs liquidity, maybe it comes to like 33.50 area. That would be the other area to watch, depending on where the news goes. Like if it drags the price down, I'll probably try to take these lows. You have to be cautious of these lows here. If you look at the daily, look at the daily, it's pretty nice. This 33.75 has been holding. That's called a quarter point every $25 level. So it's one of the things we focus on is like quarters, whole numbers theory, whatever you want to call it. 33.75 literally it has been holding this week. We've been above 30. We've been in the 3,000s. Honestly, gold pretty impressive. Like gold's been above 3,000 now for a little while. Some months it's been above $3,000. The daily looks interesting with this structure here on the daily. If you look at the daily structure on gold, it's been trending nice. I took out this, went down, made a high, low, boom, went up, made a higher high, boom, made another low here. It traded back into this low. You can see where this wicked these highs in this candle. The daily has a nice structure here. This candle, it could try to wick it, like it could try to wick down on the news. So imagine if this candle went bearish first. Like imagine it wicking down, grabbing liquidity, but closing back above this bullish. So like whatever the market, like this is a key level we can see for this week so far. The market could try to sweep it on this candle today, try to sweep it, but close back above it even. And that could even be like, okay, after that, if that happens, try to go long if it closes above here. The daily looks very interesting. There's noise. Yeah, there's like noise. Don't mind the background noise. So if we go daily, I know we got news coming out soon, so I just want to run this down quick. I'll answer some questions shortly. We got daily has, like if we're looking at technical analysis, I'm a very like technical analysis type of person, so I like to draw zones, draw areas, look at the candlesticks. I like to look for swing high points, swing low points. This pretty much came from like 3,300 as well. If you look at 3,300, this pretty much came from 3,300 as well. It's above that high here. It's a nice daily point to be above right now. Like yesterday's candle was consolidation because news, and today's consolidating as well. Was the news, so it's obviously dropped to this nice area. What I'd be on a technical point, I'd be thinking upside, right? I'd be thinking buys from here. That's what we were looking at. Those of you guys in my inner circle, I did even, oh, gotta pay the bill, boys. Gotta pay the bill. I did post I posted a breakdown of this on Saturday and Sunday on the 14th, and did a video. You can see this is a video. I did talk about this. Those of you guys in my inner circle, like maybe coming down, I broke down a video on gold. $33.75. It was on June 14th. Price has been holding $33.75 so far for the week. You can see. Depending on I'm bullish on gold. I think FOMC could try to go down first before finding like those buy setups. It would be good to see it go down quickly, but then close, like try to come back above the zone. Like if price were to pretty much like manipulate, like come down and then close back above the zone, it would be like an interesting price action to see if something like this were to happen. If you see these pushes down, they were all really quick moves. Any of these kind of moves down have been pretty quick. So if it does a fast move down and then recovers that movement, like fast kind of liquidity sweep, liquidity grab down, but recovers that movement and then closes back above the zone, that's like good bullish confirmation. Especially if it happens like in a short manner, like if it can go down aggressively, maybe go down. Otherwise, it's just going to probably rip up, to say the least. It's been holding this $33.75 all week. So I think like what I think could happen is you could see a liquidity grab potentially. Price go down. There's a big wick here. Maybe even trade into that. Price go down, grab liquidity, sweep liquidity, and then it could try to recover back above the zone. In my public Discord, I remember 33.50. There was buys I was talking about, even on YouTube at like 33.50. There was an interesting situation there where this blue candle was going bearish, but then it recovered. It came back. This is kind of like an example. This candle, like if you were there, if you remember this candle, I sent an analysis in the Discord on this candle. I probably broke it down on live too. I don't know if I was live on YouTube, but I do remember this candle, and it was an interesting candle that pushed down first. It was bearish at first, and it went down. It was extremely bearish at first, but then it recovered, and it closed back above the price, the area we were looking at, like the area we had marked up on gold. We had an area marked up on gold. I even put this in the Discord. This was on June 3rd. I remember this. I was talking about this. And I looked for buys. I was saying if the candle closes bullish, you could probably find that session on June 3rd. I don't know where. Those of you guys in my inner circle, there's definitely sessions there, or it might be on YouTube. Might have been on YouTube Live or in the inner circle. I was talking about this on June 3rd. And that candle was extremely bearish at one point, but then it recovered. It reclaimed the territory. It reclaimed. That's another word we could use. It like reclaimed the zone. Prices can do that. Like you see like a resistance here. Price like breaks out of, but then it closes back underneath it. It reclaims it. It's like a nice bearish setup here. It could happen here where price could try to come down, sweep the lows, reclaim the zone, form a market structure shift. 33.75 would be an interesting area to still watch price over the next day, next 24 hours, even after FOMC. Like, 'cause FOMC could drop price. Next level I would keep an eye on, like if it dumps close to maybe 33.50 or lower, 33.50, maybe 33.30 area, like it could drop lower. before maybe forming that buy setup if you're looking for buys. Like I've been looking for buys this week because of where after it dumped here, after it broke below 3,400, I was looking for buys. It was interesting where it was on the daily. I was like, the daily is nice area. And because of we have FOMC, so like you'll notice FOMC happens 8 times a year. It might not be, it's not my favorite week in the market at all, personally. 8 times per year, not my favorite week. It's a good week to not take maybe as much as you do as prior weeks before. I'm not it's personally for me, it's like kind of some weeks are like you'll notice over time, most weeks are like this with FOMC weeks, or where the market might be waiting for it to make like a move. If you're looking for like a major move, especially, like gold hasn't done much movement. Usually by now you've seen some more significant movement in the week. So you might notice like the market kind of stall out prior to FOMC, waiting for it. The market's like waiting for it. I'll check the chat. You guys can FOMC, so you can go to Forex Factory. This is like the one that most people use. There's other ones as well, and it just highlights the time news events come out. So it's in 20 minutes, well 15 minutes, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. New York time. Interesting thing about tomorrow being bank holiday, like stock market's closed tomorrow. And I know that's one thing that's interesting, because there's literally these, I want to say, crisis going on, these attacks, these different countries attacking each other right now. US might get involved, US rumors, this, that. There's wars going on right now. FOMC, it's like day 5 or day 6 of Iran and Israel breaking out. Another one on top of Ukraine, Russia, the Gaza, Pakistan situation. This is ad 4 of 14. Damn, Fox News. That's what I get for my free trial. To get the like, yeah, I gotta make an account after. Didn't realize. Honestly, how to read the news. I would start out. I have 2 videos, but there's different ways to read the news, because a negative number doesn't always mean a negative news. I have 2 really good videos on my YouTube channel that talk about how to like trade the news. Let's click on this one right here, 1 year ago, and there's 2 right there. See these 2 videos? Those are 2 videos you can watch on my YouTube channel on how to trade the news, news strategy. It's honestly best to just kind of sit on your hands and not try to really guess the news so much. Those videos go into a strategy on how you can approach the news with more of a plan in mind. And if you study the charts, you may tend to notice the thing I talk about in those videos. Yeah, like a red folder news doesn't always necessarily mean like a negative. It depends on what the news is towards. And a green doesn't always mean positive. There's different ways to read the news. I don't want to get into that type of training right now. But if you watch these 2 videos, it'll bang out some good context there on how to approach the news if you haven't seen them. I think this one's from 1 year ago. It has almost 20,000 views, 19,000 views there. If you guys go to the channel, there's a lot. We've been posting a lot of videos in the last month, so check them out. Literally, I think in the last, let's check it out. Yeah, in the last 2 months, there's been a good amount of videos posted. Check those out. just posted one 6 days ago, 8 days ago. Those two are really good videos. I would definitely watch these two that were just posted. But there's some really good videos that were just posted. These two, this one, they're all good. Take what you need from them. Yeah, we might see like what I think FOMC could do is, again, potentially sweep liquidity, potentially drive down. Like prices might drive down. I'm looking for buys. I think everyone's looking for buys on gold in these times. In these times, I think everyone's pretty much like bullish on gold. It's interesting, like in these times, right? Yeah, there's background noise. Don't mind that. I live in a hotel, and lots of, I don't know what they're doing. They're doing what are they doing? Someone's doing maybe some construction. This is another ad. Damn, Fox News ad 14 of 14. Check out the link in my bio. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, check out the link in my bio for any links and resources as well, like other stuff. That's my Instagram. I put the link. That's my verified. That's a verified account. You'll see the what is that? The check mark. I'll tell you that you can find some details about the inner circle in the link in my bio if you're interested. Check it out. Inner circle. We have more. I just uploaded some videos. I got some more I want to work on probably this weekend, maybe after today. We have a session tonight. I'll be live in the inner circle tonight. If you're in the inner circle, start on the basics, intermediate, advanced. I just uploaded a crypto course. There's still more videos that need to get added to that crypto course though. The masterclass, uploaded some more videos there. Like one of them, my payment has been declined. Brokey. I just added 2 more, this one, and I put the pictures. You can get the pictures. I know you guys, so the ones that have like pictures and stuff like that, or I explain some stuff. There's a lot of pre-recorded sessions. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going through them, and I'm gonna put some like there's a lot of pre-recorded sessions on the YouTube for you guys in Inner Circle. I'm gonna be putting some in here that I think are like worthwhile, because there's a lot. There's like 70 plus sessions. You can watch. You don't have to watch. You don't have to watch them all. They're all there for you at any time access. But I'm gonna upload some of the good ones, some maybe ones I think are worth putting the time and watching here. I've been going through a lot of the sessions, kind of looking back, seeing some. So I'm gonna do that. That's what that section will be. But there's more videos that are coming too. FOMC's in 9 minutes. 4 hour looks ugly too. Everything's like, what is going on? Yeah, 4 hour might. Everything looks kind of ugly on gold this week. Like, look at this. Let's go over here. Yeah, this price action is interesting. It could come down. That's what I think That's what I think will happen for FOMC. I could be wrong. It could just fly up. Who knows? It could go up or down at this news. That's the thing. So you have to have a plan. Like if you're ever in a trade, most traders that are in trades before news have like a break even, or maybe their entry's already in profit. Like or it's like a news account. Like if you're gonna trade the news, like make a separate account. Put $50 in the account, $100 in the account, or 1%, 2%, whatever your risk is in the account, so you don't trade. And that's like if you're ever gonna trade the news, you have to have like a risk plan. Some traders might be in trades before news and they have break even. It's like they caught the move. It's risky, but the best thing you can do is wait. Literally just sit on your hands, honestly. Because weeks like this are only 8 times a year. It's not like it's going to make your trading year. It's not like a week of 8 times. It happens 8 times a year, FOMC. So it's obviously a very like highly looked at event, very overlooked, very anticipated event. Especially the press conference and such, but both situation fund rates and the press conference, it's very a tentative, highly looked at event. A lot of traders, investors worldwide, will pay attention to it. So you don't want it to get in the mix of like your trading. Obviously the technicals can be there, but these are types of situations where like liquidity grabs can happen, fast moves. This could dump. The previous lows down here, right? Like if we're looking like more in the external range of price, like if we're looking at this low, right? No, it literally tapped 50% at the, if you take the last low that took us up into this high, it literally tapped 50% of that this week. If you're taking the last low up to the high, you squeeze that down, you literally have a 50% tap there, right at 33.75. We could maybe go down. We could maybe go down on the news, guys. So if you're bullish on gold, like obviously I'm bullish on gold. And there's this. Let's see. How do I skip this? Oh my Lanta. Because I gotta stay on it. Let me put it over here for a minute. This whole year has been going up, and there's been times where news, so we have the news that's going on in the world, the whole Iran, Israel situation, Trump, how he's acting, how he's taking his stance on it and stuff with the US. Throughout this bull run gold's been in, there's been times where bad news, we could say it's bad news for like the world, like when stuff like that happens, and gold usually goes up. But there's a lot of times in several occasions where gold has gone down to catapult itself up, even in the times where it's like there's bad news going on in the world, gold should go up. It's like, okay, there's demand for gold, there's bad news in the world. People know that. It could still spend its time trying to find that before driving up, because it's like the demand still could be there long term. What's happening right now in the last 6 days, in the last week, could just be fueling more of that demand on the macro side, maybe the bigger picture towards the end of the year. We'll have to see how it all plays out pretty much day by day at this point. At this point, it's pretty much like kind of like seeing how this all kind of takes place day by day and week by week. Interesting times we live in. Where does gold finish the year at? Does it go back to 3,500 sooner or later? So like possible analysis, like again, like I broke down gold at the beginning of the session, talked about like what I was looking at coming into this week with you guys. Again, like daily to me is bullish. Like the macro picture of gold is bullish to me. But we got FOMC in a couple minutes. Price could whip down. I could try to go for some moves down first. We'll see how FOMC comes out. But other levels, maybe keep an eye on. 3350, 3325, or 3330 area. You look at the last few drops gold's had. You had this drop, took us up into the high. You had this drop, took us up. So you've had some nice counter moves here on gold down, like retracements. Yeah, with news, it's either like someone said in the chat. Someone said in the chat, it either goes up or down. It's like, and the market's gonna go. The market's usually gonna go where. The market's usually gonna go to the side of the most losses first too. Like that's how you gotta think of it too. A lot of times, the market's usually gonna find like the most liquidity first. Like liquidity's everywhere. Liquidity's swing highs, swing lows, double tops, double bottoms, triple bottoms, right? A lot liquidity's everywhere in the market, and it's gonna try to probably go to the side where most of it is, where maybe the majority of the stop losses are, where majority of the losses could be set in. That's one way to even think about the news. Yeah, it's been respecting 33.75 the whole week. Does it hold it? That's like a risk you'd have to really take. Like if you were to trade that during the like it's been holding that all week. You'd have to, you know, have a set risk because again, this thing could just dump down. It could take out these lows, all these lows here. There's a lot of support now built up. Could take out all these lows first. It has a nice accumulation building up. Nice accumulation, but we just got that good old FOMC. Yeah, FOMC, some of you guys, I've been trading for 10 years, and FOMC sometimes annoys me. FOMC week. We'll see how market moves. Yeah, they got that. Man, what are they? Look at that reaction on indices at the lows. Indices have a nice structure on them, like bullish structure to me. Oh yeah, tapping these lows. Gold has all this support here. All of this support. It could try to get ran out. I would think if it runs the lows, then it's probably a buy setup. If you're looking for buys on gold, maybe wait for it to run the lows. See if it runs the lows first, and then tries to recover that. That could be a scenario. I have small buys on gold, but I have a stop loss. I have a small account. Probably no rate cut. We'll see. For me, I don't know how that's going to really impact the market. I know when they cut the rates, it's going to be like bullish for crypto. Looks like gold's going up. It's holding that. It's holding. It's holding. Is it the move? The daily is... Yesterday's candle was bullish on the daily. Yeah, they left the rates unchanged. Unchanged. No cut. Unchanged. Maybe market just kind of goes trading. How's crypto liking this? Oh, look at that Nas. That was clean structure there. That was clean structure. Maybe gold buys if it's holding 33.75. I thought we were gonna go down first. The daily on gold looks still pretty nice. If you look at yesterday's candle, it was a blue candle yesterday, so I mean, do we hold that? Let's watch price for a little bit. Might try to come back to 33.75. Might try to come back there. Close to it. The daily so far, like yesterday's candle and today's candle's consolidation, but more like rejection too. some signs of rejection. Yeah, nothing crazy. You're probably gonna have more movement than when Powell speaks. You didn't get the craziest impact. In the next 30 minutes, it'll probably have more movement. It looks like it might try to come back to 33.75. I would still keep an eye on 33.75 or lower. Still the same thing I said, because you have 30 minutes from now. Market may experience volatility more when Powell speaks at the press conference. So what happens now in 30 minutes is there's a boring press conference where Jerome Powell, chairman of the Federal Reserve, speaks, and he does his policy summary, talks about the future more. Like, he talks more about what to expect maybe in the future, where things are at, where things may go with the rate cuts. And then he gets interviewed and asked some questions. You can watch it live on YouTube. For now, like, daily's holding nice. Don't want to be over optimistic, but I still like my plan coming into the week. Like, still, like, maybe this still holds, swings up to the high long term, maybe today or tomorrow. If these lows get taken out, so if all these lows get taken out, then you'd have to watch for 33.50. That would probably be the next level. Like, if those lows get taken out, it's another confirmation for me. Like, okay, it's gonna set up. I thought it might have on impact of news, but nothing crazy. Probably closer to 2:30. It's, yeah, like, it's been 5 minutes here. Powell's gonna speak, so it could dump and reclaim. So remember, like, you don't even have to find the bottom. Like, it could dump and try to reclaim this and hold this for a longer swing. Let's say if it dumps, reclaims the level, holds the level. There's quick movement on, yeah, like, stocks are moving. Gold will probably move, yeah, closer to 230. If anything, watch 75 or see if it sweeps the lows. Like, see if it comes closer to 75. It's still, this is interesting price action on gold for the week so far, since like the end of Monday. Some of Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday now. I'm trying to swing gold from, you know, this area that we're in on the daily. If not, probably find another setup. If it goes down, I'll wait and see how price behaves when it goes down. If it comes back up quick and reclaims the level. There's not really a trade right now, I'd say, so it's just more watching how the day plays out, I think. Because overall, like I ran down in the beginning of this session, structure-wise, bullish on gold. Like, with how price looks. If we stay above this high today, I'm gonna be bullish on gold. If we stay above here today, I'll be bullish on gold. It could that even if it goes down and comes back, like, if it stays above the high today, I'll be bullish. It looks like the daily wants to stay above the high. Yesterday kind of did. Yeah, yesterday did. Even yesterday went down. There's a couple hours left in the day, so maybe we get a stronger close. Like, bullish most part for the day on the candle so far, but Powell speaks soon. That's what I was still thinking. That's all I see. Otherwise, 33.50. There's a wick there. There's on the 4 hour. Like, that candle wick. Market could try to come trade in there. Like, if we take out the lows. So imagine just sweeping these lows. Maybe market comes lower. That could be another play. Like, I'll be on tonight as well. In Inner Circle, I'll be on tonight to look at the market. For now, like, it remains pretty much like I talked about beginning of the week. If you guys, for those of you guys that have been on my streams, it's still, this is what I was looking at coming into the week. 3375, 3400 area. Right now, market's below 3400. Still holding 3375 overall, which on the daily looks clean to me. This is like this is an interesting accumulation gold has. Yeah, like if it gets out of this, it's probably a buy setup. If and it would still be like a correction. Like this would still be more like a correction still. Might be trying to like 30 and 3400 has been, if it closes above 3400, then I think like it's gone. Like it's been accumulating for the last like 2 days and a half, basically, right? If it's able to close above 3400 at all this week, then it's like probably gone. That's been resistance, like 3400. If it can ever get above that, then like if it can close 4 hour daily above there, it's strong. Silver looks interesting. Let's look at silver. Silver, I'll keep my zones that I had here. Silver looks pretty interesting. Silver's at a 13-year high amid all this highest it's been since 2012 because of all this geopolitical tension. It's creating even demand for silver. Take a look at silver's chart. What do you guys think? What does this look like on silver to you guys? This looks like interesting. What do you guys see here? We have that. Look at that big blue candle. It just wicked down right to that candle. See that? See this? See this candle? Some of you guys might know what I'm talking about. See this candle? I just wicked down to there before the news. Previous structure as well, high, like a swing high point. Look at silver. Tell me silver doesn't look like, you know? Tell me silver doesn't look like a buy. Like a bullish. Look at silver's chart. It's been pushing up. Silver's been going. Silver's had some strong demand. This chart looks interesting. It formed a wick. There's a wick. Silver has a wick rejection here. Silver has a wick rejection. Doesn't have a close. It just has a wick rejection. But like the structure of it looks like it could be maybe setting up for something like this. If that's a strong enough wick rejection. This candle could maybe come back into the wick or try to come down. And that would be gold going down. Silver looks interesting on the chart here. High up. Silver's at 13-year highs. Silver's bullish because of all the conflict going on.
And great consideration for the safety and well-being not only of our Americans abroad, but also the safety to our citizens right here in the homeland.
All right, so this was President Trump earlier today on some of the divide that we have seen and heard within your party, Senator. On some Republicans, the president commented, who are angry with our involvement in the Middle East.
Just like
Listen
accumulation.
Very simply, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That's it. It's not a question of anything else.
We see this is earlier.
You wouldn't have much of a country because they would use it on us and they'd use it on other people and they'd be a terror all over the world. So I may have some people that are a little bit unhappy now, but I have some people that are very happy.
So do tell us, what are you hearing within your party?
Yes, of course, there is some division, but let me tell you what, this president is strong, and he is intent on protecting America, bottom line. So not only has Iran thwarted any attempt to oversee their nuclear program, but they've also continued to develop ballistic missiles, missiles that will reach the United States of America. Pair that with nuclear capabilities, and then the Iranians' wish of death to America could come true. We need to make sure that we're pushing back against that. And while I don't want to see the United States in another war, I certainly think that we can enable the Israelis to continue what they are doing in destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities.
Okay, so I want to get him some more sound here, because Speaker Johnson came on Fox News Channel earlier today, and he came to the defense of the administration's actions and also obviously a response to those Republicans who are objecting. Listen.
We have to protect U.S. assets and obviously our personnel. We got 40,000 U.S. service members stationed in the region over there. That is what the president is doing. He's fully within his authority to act in that manner, and that is what the commander-in-chief is supposed to do. We have to stand by our ally Israel.
And it's not just Republicans. Here's some from some of your Democrat senator colleagues on getting involved in this conflict. I'll have you respond. Listen.
I do not believe that Iran should have nuclear weapons here. I believe they can achieve that goal without war. There's much to be Barack Obama administration.
Asking the United States to send its pilots, its B-52s, and its military equipment, the bunker busters. That's really Netanyahu trying to get us to endorse a regime change approach. We should not be part of getting lured into the regime change agenda of Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Senator, I'll have you respond to that, but also because his words were captioned, Dick Durbin's there, I'll read to you. He said, "I do not believe that Iran should have a nuclear weapon, period, but I believe that we can achieve that goal without war. We did as much under the Barack Obama administration." Your response to them?
They did not do that under the Barack Obama administration. The JCPOA simply allowed Iran to continue developing towards the nuclear capabilities that could be wrapped into a big, beautiful weapon that could be used against Israel and the United States. So I will push back heavily on that. I believe they should not have a nuclear weapon, but they shouldn't have nuclear capacity, period. And let me remind everyone out there about Iran and their involvement in eliminating the lives of Americans past many decades. We saw 43 Americans killed on October 7th when Hamas, Iranian-backed Hamas, weapons supplied by Iran, when they invaded Israel. Those 43 Americans killed, 8 taken hostage. So there was no mention of that in the Biden administration. Now is time for retribution. Iran should never have the capability to back those terrorist organizations ever again. Their ballistic missile program should be gone, as well as their nuclear capabilities. I'm very firm on this, Sandra, and I stand behind the president.
I just want to finish off with some words from Benjamin Netanyahu moments ago. We're expecting more here shortly. We're in the 6th day of this operation. They control the skies of Tehran, strike with nuclear weapons and missiles, and the people's spirit is strong. We are determined, he says, to bring back all the hostages and defeat Hamas. Together we'll fight, and with God's help, together we will win. We do expect to hear more from him shortly. We're turning around some sound of when he just spoke. Senator, good to have you on. We'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.
All right.
We have to get the criminals out of our country.
See Sandra? See Sandra's eyes? She's like, this bitch.
And
See
Biden
that?
let in thousands and 11,888 murderers. Many of them murdered more than one person. Can you believe it? They emptied out the jails of countries from all over the world, from the Congo, from Venezuela, from all over the place.
President Trump wrapping up his
Yeah, we saw this. This is earlier, all right. Saw that. Oh, what's going on with gold today, guys? Silver looks super interesting. Watch that. If that candle, this is the 4 hour. 4 hour looks way cleaner on silver than gold. We had that wick down. This candle could be interesting if it closes bullish. It could create a support, right, for the market. That might be a good signal for gold as well. Look at gold on 4 hour. We need this to try to break, like, if gold can break above 3,400, I think that's more of a bullish sign. Again, you've been sitting here all week, so getting above there would be, like, closing bullish for the day would be, I think, more significant for this to try to swing up, if it's going to. Otherwise, we got Powell soon, right? We still got some time. Otherwise, other option, wait for the lows to get taken out. Wait for those lows to get taken out if they do. Oh, is that would create a big liquidity grab, and then more likely you have that setup. Maybe tonight we can see where the market's at. Right now, not a lot of movement going on, but the chart's interesting for gold. I've been saying all week the same thing. Been sticking to one, they say plan your trade, trade your plan. Been just kind of sticking to one bias so far for the week. You guys see what's going on in the world and everything, right? So it's also that kind of fueled in with it. Like, I think that's going to create more demand for gold and maybe see some good buys. So I can maybe find some good buy setups to swing off the 4 hour. This is why this idea was from the 4 hour. If lows don't get taken out, it means like the market's just holding. It's better. I mean, if the lows don't get taken out, that means like we're still bullish, I think, then, because it's just holding itself. And the FOMC's done. This might just be a big accumulation for price. Still looking for that swing up, though. Again, this is if you go on the daily, this is your last low here. So structure-wise, kind of like a shallow retracement more right now, but structure-wise looks nice. From the previous low, swing high, pulling back. So if we stay above here, then it could be better signs to go up even. Powell is going to speak soon. You can watch it on YouTube. That might be where the market brings some volatility. I wanted to get on. We started at 1 p.m. I want to get on before FOMC. Go over some analysis, run some things down. Yeah, I know the daily hasn't. If the daily close, you could watch the day, because the day has 2 hours and 39 minutes left. Powell speaks in 10 minutes. So like the day has that much time left till it closes. If the day closes bullish, then I think we're more bullish going into the next trading day. If you get a bullish close on the day, even if it doesn't break above 3,400, so like I saw someone asked in the chat, so like even if it doesn't break above 3,400, if you get more of a bullish close for the day, then I think that could still provide more of like what we're seeing like the 4 hour kind of do too. It's accumulating in price. So I still, if lows don't get taken out, then still bullish, I would say. If the lows don't get taken out, then I would, like, it's still, the setup, it's still there. Like the setup's still there. Even if it holds here for the day, if nothing crazy happens when Powell speaks, if it just stays up here, like let's say when Powell speaks, nothing crazy happens, it doesn't go down like crazy or whipsaw or anything, and it just kind of holds itself more in a holding pattern, like it's been doing for the last couple of days, then more bullish. I'm still bullish on gold, looking for them buys. Been looking for some buys this week. I had some positions that did the same thing, like in and out of profit. The market, if you've watched gold this week, it's pretty much just gone up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Other area would be 33.50. Maybe 33.50. If that would be like if it sweeps the lows. I remember what I said. Let's say if it sweeps the lows, you don't have to immediately get into a trade. You could see if it comes back and tries to reclaim the area. Price does that often at support levels, resistance zones. You go on YouTube. Honestly, like look at my front. Look at my YouTube. Like you can find it on different pages. You can watch it. Federal Reserve press conference starting in like 10 minutes. You can find different. You probably find different YouTubers watching it. See there, here. So yeah, it'll start soon. Some traders don't like. You don't have like in trading. Like you don't like. It's once. Like it's 8 times a year. I was about to say once every eight times. It's 8 times per year, so it's not like something you always have to watch if it's not part of your trading plan. Like maybe FOMC week is a week that you don't even trade, or maybe it's a day you don't look at the market. Like if you're a new trader, you're gonna hear some boring, you're gonna hear some words and stuff that's like, what is he saying? What is he talking about? The questions he gets asked are pretty interesting. Like you might find the questions part that he gets asked interesting too, like the types of questions he get asked, what answers he has. Do I always watch it? No, I don't know. I don't always look at FOMC every single time either. Market looks interesting for this one, for gold, especially going into this one. So we got like 6 minutes. Maybe liquidity sweep, go up. Those are your only options, I think. For bullish bias, like I'm not looking for sells personally. For bullish bias, it would be seeing if 33.75 holds, or if we get the liquidity sweep. I'm probably gonna wrap it up soon here, guys. I have to go. I'm gonna be in Inner Circle tonight in what, 6 hours? Not 6 hours, like 7 hours. I'll be live at 10 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be back on tonight in Inner Circle to see where gold's at. I'm gonna watch the market, take some time to kind of lock in, watch the market for a bit. I gave you guys some rundowns, like we could either hold the zone or we get that liquidity sweep, potentially then the market rebounds, recovers the zone. Liquidity sweep could lead to the bullish movement, creating the bullish movement. There's probably a lot of buyers. Powell's about to speak. You can hit me up on Instagram. If you hit me up on my Instagram, I put my Instagram link in the bio if you want info on my Inner Circle. You can also click the link in my bio on my Instagram. I'm going to be on Inner Circle 10 p.m. tonight. If I need to jump on earlier, I will. If the market's in a spot where it's like, oh, I'm going to jump on it. If it has to be like, depending on where the market is, but 10 p.m. should be a good time tonight. So really 2 options, guys. Seeing if the zone holds 33.75. Market could try to go underneath 33.75 first before going above it, or before trying to reclaim, like recover that area. I'm not gonna stay on for the Jerome Powell. I have to go. I got on. That's why I got on at 1 p.m. today. I got on a little earlier. We talked about some things, some potential scenarios. These lows, there's a lot of support. Like haven't seen. Damn, gold. Why can't it always trade like that? It always gives it's nice reactions there. Easy. Like 8 times. There's a lot of support there, so it could try to drive under that support to create a bullish move that brings it back above to reclaim the zone. There's a link in the chat. That's my Instagram. You can message me there. If you have any questions, check the link in my bio. Tonight I'll be on Inner Circle. Got some work to do here, but I gotta get going. It's been a good little hour. We've been out for 90 minutes. Been a good little time here. We already saw this, right? Yeah, we already saw this. You can catch the speech right here. I'll put this link in the chat. I'm not gonna be live for it. Is it recommended to just convert alts like XRP sold? In the current situation, I mean, some of those alts are like, no, I wouldn't say so much. Like what? Like if ETH drops to, you know, no, I wouldn't say so much. Not ETH and Sol, not majors. Like Solana's a major alt. Like Solana's more major, but it moves a much higher percentage. Sol, where's XRP at? How's XRP doing? XRP ETF just came out. I don't think those major tokens I'd be worried about. Like, it's altcoins are like, those are major alts. I would like, Solana's more of a major alt. XRP, Ethereum, those are good coins to have. Hold even. Those are hodl coins. Those have been hodl coins. I don't think so in the current situation. For those coins at least, like the majors. I gotta wrap it up though, guys. I gotta go, unfortunately. I'll keep you guys updated in school. Don't know what market will do today, but I'm still bullish. It's either, again, either we hold this zone and we get the run up. The buys still look decent on the daily. I'll probably drop a video for you guys in Discord that are in and in here. I'll probably drop another video shortly for you guys. Keep an eye on the news. Keep your eyes peeled. Interesting times. You gotta kind of take it day by day and see what happens day by day. Part of the new routine, watching Donald Trump every day, listening to the news every day, adapting. I mean, next 4 years might be interesting markets. Adapting. I'll be on tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Hit me. I put my Instagram bio. I mean, link in the chat. I said bio. In the chat. Hit me up there. You can hit me up on. Don't forget to update. If you want to enter the Inner Circle, you can hit me up on Instagram. I put the link in the chat. Message me on Instagram or check out the link in my bio. Since you asked. Right now. Since you asked. Check out the link in my bio or message me on Instagram. Might be gold buys still. Powell out. He's gonna be like, so when he talks, I'm gonna get off in like 5 minutes or so. He'll always be a good afternoon. I'll play it. Where are we at? He'll walk in a bit. Let's see. We'll just wait a couple minutes here.
To do that in terms of giving the time and space to carry it out, I think President Trump ought to make sure it gets finished and he can do it quickly if the U.S. participates.
Let's see. We'll watch some news here. I'll stay on for like 5-10 minutes here.
Roger, thanks for dropping by. I really appreciate it.
Defense, and they're doing their job. They're trying to delay this as long as they possibly can. But the evidence is not going to get any better for either side.
An Idaho judge about to hear some crucial arguments ahead of Brian Kohberger's quadruple murder trial. Our legal panel is here. We'll break them down in moments.
Silver is the precious metal. This is the quiz with Bob. It's the most fun you'll have by the pool this summer. Landmarks were completed in the 20th century. I don't even know what the 20th century is. Balls all new Mondays on Fox and watch anytime on Hulu.
news conference begins, the chair will make a brief opening statement and take questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand and Michelle Smith.
All right, let's play in here.
When you're called on, please wait for the microphone to pass to you. There will be
These ads.
Also, please take a moment to silence phones, laptops, and any other electronic devices.
Chill. Hey, a new camera. I got bulk, skinny. Where's it at? Nope, that's not it. Where's the other one? Yeah, anyone who wants to be a part of my inner circle is actually interested. I see a couple people asked. Lifetime access. If anyone wants to be a part of my inner circle, you can get lifetime access to it. It's a lifetime investment. There's a lot of value already in it. We just started the inner circle a couple months ago, and it's something that's going to continue to innovate, and there'll be a lot of value and more. There's already a ton of value inside of it. And in a year from now, a year inside my inner circle, it's lifetime access. But after a year spent inside of it, you'll learn enough about the markets. And just in 2-3 months, if you spend some consistent time inside of my inner circle on the sessions, watching the recordings, watching the videos, it's lifetime access. You get lifetime access for a one-time fee. And even just in a couple months, you'll learn a lot about the market. If you just plug in 1 hour a day, 1 to 2 hours a day max, as much as you can, as much as you want. It could be 30 minutes to 1 hour a day. But you can learn a lot in there, especially as we roll out more videos. We have a lot of videos already. They're really good videos that are in each section. And there's more coming. In a year from now, there'll be more. 6 months from now, there'll be more videos. Maybe August as well. I just updated some of these, added some. So in August, I'm gonna do what I just did again, basically in August. For those of you guys that are in, know what I'm saying. What I just did. I updated it, added some videos and stuff. I'm adding more. It's almost done. And by the end of the month, I think it'll all be done. And next time I'll do that will probably be like end of August, September, like August, summertime, like end of summertime. I'm thinking August will be the next time, end of August. But yeah, after a year spent in the inner circle, trust there'll be, after going through these videos and then the more videos that I'll continue to add, it'll be a lot of mentorship, a lot of information, good information on the markets, all kinds of markets. Still whipping out most of the gold stuff. Been doing some currency pair stuff. Got to get some crypto stuff in there. Starting to add some crypto stuff. Then got to add some indices stuff. And we got to go into smart money concepts. We don't even have the smart money folder yet. These are just like, there's gonna be more added. Like there's gonna be different concepts, things, theories. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. We don't even have the smart money folder there yet. Smart money concepts, whatever. It's just different things. Powell speaking? Probably. Maybe. Nope. Now he is. There he is. There's old man Powell. So this guy's speaking. This is what they do. This is the press conference for those who don't really know what FOMC is. They do the federal fund rate.
Good afternoon. My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people.
That sounds so familiar.
Despite elevated uncertainty, the economy is in a solid position.
Elevated uncertainty.
The unemployment rate remains low, and the labor market is at or near maximum employment.
Now the market's going to start
Inflation
moving.
has come down a great deal, but has been running somewhat above our 2% longer run objective. In support of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged. We believe that the current stance of monetary policy leaves us well positioned to respond in a timely way to potential economic developments. I'll have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. Following growth of 2.5% last year, GDP was reported to have edged
See, I didn't go to
down
macro.
in the first
See, I didn't go to.
reflecting
I made my money with moving averages and oil numbers and candlesticks and trend lines and technical analysis.
This unusual swing has complicated GDP measurement. Private domestic final purchases, or PDFP, as we call them, which excludes net exports, inventory investment, and government spending, grew at a solid 2.5% rate.
Gold's going to be fluctuating.
Within PDFP, growth of consumer spending moderated, while investment in equipment and intangibles rebounded from weakness in the fourth quarter. Surveys of households and businesses, however, report a decline in sentiment over recent months and elevated uncertainty about the economic outlook, largely reflecting trade policy concerns. It remains to be seen how these developments might affect future spending and investment. In our summary of economic projections, the median participant projects GDP to rise 1.4% this year and 1.6% next year, somewhat slower than projected in March. In the labor market, conditions have remained solid. Payroll job gains averaged 135,000.
Bro, this sounds so familiar. Like,
the unemployment rate at 4.2%.
Yo, tell me this. Anyone else?
Has stayed in a narrow range for the past year.
Are we watching a recording?
Wage growth has continued to moderate while still outpacing inflation.
That's going to be the questions
Overall,
that'll be interesting.
A wide set of indicators suggests that conditions in the labor market are broadly
sounds so familiar.
Consistent with maximum employment.
Literally.
The labor market is not a source of significant inflationary pressures.
I'll let you play in here. I'll take my camera off for a little bit.
The median projection for the unemployment rate
price.
in the SEP is 4.5% at the end of this year.
Still holding,
next,
like it's holding accumulation.
In March.
There's a big accumulation going on from the looks of
Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.3% over the 12 months ending in May, and that, excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.6%. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have moved up over recent months, as reflected in both market and survey-based measures. Respondents to surveys of consumers, businesses, and professional forecasters point to tariffs as the driving factor. Beyond the next year or so, however, most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2% inflation goal. The median projection in the SEP for total PCE inflation this year is 3%, somewhat higher than projected in March. The median inflation projection falls to 2.4% in 2026 and 2.1% in 2027. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. At today's meeting, the committee decided to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 4.25% to 4.5% and to continue reducing the size of our balance sheet. We will continue to determine the appropriate stance of monetary policy based on the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. Changes to trade, immigration, fiscal, and regulatory policies continue to evolve, and their effects on the economy remain uncertain. The effects of tariffs will depend, among other things, on their ultimate level. Expectations of that level, and thus of the related economic effects, reached a peak in April and have since declined. Even so, increases in tariffs this year are likely to push up prices and weigh on economic activity. The effects on inflation could be short-lived, reflecting a one-time shift in the price level. It's also possible that the inflationary effects could instead be more persistent. Avoiding that outcome will depend on the size of the tariff effects, on how long it takes for them to pass through fully into prices, and ultimately on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Our obligation is to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored and to prevent a one-time increase in the price level from becoming an ongoing inflation problem. As we act to meet that obligation, we will balance our maximum employment and price stability mandates, keeping in mind that without price stability, we cannot achieve the long periods of strong labor market conditions that benefit all Americans. We may find ourselves in the challenging scenario in which our dual mandate goals are in tension. If that were to occur, we would consider how far the economy is from each goal and the potentially different time horizons over which those respective gaps would be anticipated to close. For the time being, we are well positioned to wait to learn more about the likely course of the economy before considering any adjustments to our policy stance. In our SEP, FOMC participants wrote down their individual assessments of an appropriate path for the federal funds rate based on what each participant judges to be the most likely scenario going forward. The median participant projects that the appropriate level of the federal funds rate will be 3.9% at the end of this year, the same as projected in March. The median projection declines to 3.6% at the end of next year and to 3.4% at the end of 2027, a little higher than the March projection. These individual forecasts are always subject to uncertainty, and as I've noted, uncertainty is unusually elevated. And of course, these projections are not a committee plan or decision. At this meeting, the committee continued its discussions as part of our 5-year review of our monetary policy framework. We focused on issues related to assessing the risks and uncertainties that are relevant for monetary policy and the potential implications for policy strategy and communications. Our review includes outreach and public events involving a wide range of parties, including Fed Listens events around the country and a research conference that we held last month. We are open to new ideas and critical feedback, and we will take on board lessons of the last 5 years in determining our findings. We intend to wrap up any modifications to our statement on longer-run goals and monetary policy strategy by late summer. After that, we will consider enhancements to our suite of communications tools, including the SEP. The Fed has been assigned 2 goals for monetary policy: maximum employment and stable prices. We remain committed to supporting maximum employment, bringing inflation sustainably to our 2% goal, and keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Our success in delivering on these goals matters to all Americans. We understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission, and we at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Colby Smith with the New York Times. To what extent has the more limited impact from tariffs at this stage on inflation changed your view on what the ultimate economic fallout will be from these policies and the timing of when they will materialize in the data?
So we've had 3 months of favorable inflation readings since the high readings of January and February, and that's, of course, highly welcome news. Part of that just is that services, core services, both housing services and non-housing services, have really been grinding down toward levels that are consistent with 2% inflation. So that's the good news. We've had goods inflation just moving up a bit, and of course we expect, as you point out, we do expect to see more of that over the course of the summer. It takes some time for tariffs to work their way through the chain of distribution to the end consumer. A good example of that would be goods being sold at retailers today may have been imported several months ago before tariffs were imposed. So we're beginning to see some effects, and we do expect to see more of them over coming months. We do also see price increases in some of the relevant categories like personal computers and audiovisual equipment and things like that that are attributable to tariff increases. In addition, we look at surveys of businesses, and there are many of those, and you do see a range of things, but many companies do expect to put all or some or all of the effective tariffs through to the next person in the chain, and ultimately to the consumer. Today, the amount of the amount of the tariff effects, the size of the tariff effects, their duration and the time it will take are all highly uncertain. So that is why we think the appropriate thing to do is to hold where we are as we learn more. And we think our policy stance is in a good place where we're well positioned to react to incoming developments.
So in In terms of how we should interpret the rate cuts penciled into the SEP, is this reflecting that there's this expectation that underlying inflation will just stay well enough contained that allows the committee to eventually move ahead with those cuts? Or is it about, responding to a deterioration in economic activity, let's say? I mean, how should we make sense of the forecast?
So if you look at the forecast, you will see that people do generally expect inflation to move up and then to come back down. But we can't just assume that. Of course, we don't know that. And, our job is to make sure, one of our jobs is to make sure that a one-time increase in inflation doesn't turn into an inflation problem. And
looks like we're going to come down a bit.
Size of the effects, how long it takes for
we're going to come down, maybe test 33.75, test the lows again. Maybe even take out the lows, like I said.
Hi, and thanks, Chairperson Howard Stein with
Not-
Reuters.
nothing
If you look at the rate path
Currency
starting in
pairs
December
moved
to today and adjusted
quite a
over
bit. They're dropping, dollars going up.
time horizon you've got there,
It looks like we're going to come down.
out of your
Looks like we're going to
path,
come
and you end at a
down.
higher rate at 2027 than you would have in
Probably going to
2024.
test those
Is that a
lows,
result
maybe
of-
even
of-
take the
of
lows
sense
out.
Tariffs will lead to more persistent inflation. Is it a result of reassessments of where your short-term neutral rate is? Why are you on a slower path?
Market's
I would focus
reacting now,
most
though.
on the nearer term
Dollar's
as you-
pushing
as
up
you go
now.
out to the
Dollar's been pushing up the whole time,
later
pretty
years.
much.
It's hard for
Went
anyone
down
to know
quickly,
where the economy's
pushed up.
going. You didn't see people moving their longer term.
The dollar would have
estimate
to
of neutral
reverse.
rate, for example, at this meeting. So, and those things are probably slow moving. So I think if you look at what's happening here since March, this is since March, right? You see a little slower growth, just a tiny
Well,
tick
gold,
up,
if you're looking for
one
buys,
tick up,
better to see it push down. Like, it'd be better. Like, if gold's pushing down, you don't want to buy it when it's going up.
It was a similar move from the.
Let it
December
drop. Maybe let it come back to test
So that's what
33.75.
you
It's
see.
been
You
holding
see
that all week, but
the effects of
if you guys
tariffs.
been on since
I
the
think we
beginning,
learned in April, after
I
the
did say
March
there is a chance it takes
that
the lows out. Keep an eye on
substantially
that.
higher
That would be like the other
and then
scenario
since
if
then,
those lows get
the
taken out
estimates
to
of where
really
the
watch
tariffs might
price.
actually move back down, although still
That could lead to the
So
setup
we're
we've been
adapting
looking
in real
for
time. And what you see is
pretty much for the whole week. We've been looking for a move out of here. Hasn't been giving it.
Statement that risks have diminished on that.
Still holding that zone.
But, the
We
July
talked about that
drop dead
daily.
for all the
Daily's pushing bearish right now. A couple hours left in the day.
You've got
It would be
now,
interesting to see how the
exchange of
day
missiles
finishes.
between Middle East
If the day
adversaries
still
and
finishes like above this area
How can you justify saying
and
that
holds
risks
this area,
So what we said
still
was
trading
that
above it. So
uncertainty
I have to see how the day
uncertainty about the
finishes, but
economic
it looks like we're
outlook
going to
has
try to
diminished
come
going
down and
forward.
maybe test the
Many
lows,
surveys say that.
possibly even
So,
break the
and
lows before
that's actually
reversing.
a line from the teal book, which you can see
So
if
be aware of that.
Remember
Nothing more to
check
really
that.
go over. Gold's still in that
No,
box,
but, if you
still in
think
that
about
area.
Tariff uncertainty. Uncertainty really peaked in April.
Saying
and
uncertainty
since
a
then
lot.
has come down. And that's really what that's just acknowledging. It's diminished, but still elevated. That it's uncertainty. So I think that's an accurate statement.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Thank you. Chris Rugaber.
He's just gonna ask questions right now.
There
I'm
is
gonna wrap it
writing
up
out
for the
there,
day.
In favor of
I'll
cutting
see those
rates
tuning in
more
tonight, 10 p.m.
immediately.
Eastern time. I'll be back on
Inflation
Inner
is
Circle
continuing to
session.
Cool and is back to roughly 2% despite the tariffs. And I guess I also wanted to ask about cracks in the job market with gross hiring slowing, concentrated in just a few industries. We've seen some housing data, including this morning, that have been pretty weak. Do you see any concerns that the economy is weakening and that is a reason to cut rates going forward?
So we do of course monitor all those things. I think if you look at the overall picture, what you're seeing is 4.2% unemployment and an economy that's growing at a rate hard to know given the unusual flows in the first quarter, but it appears to be 1.5–2%, maybe a little better than that. Sentiment has come up off of its very low levels. It's still depressed. So you can point to things. The housing market is a longer run problem and also a short run problem. I don't think it's indicative of basically the situation is we have a longer run shortage of housing, and we also have high rates right now. I think the best thing we can do for the housing market is to restore price stability in a sustainable way and create a strong labor market, and that's the best thing we can do for the housing market. You asked about the job market. again, look at labor force participation, look at wages, look at job creation. They're all at healthy levels now. I would say you can see perhaps a very, very slow continued cooling, but nothing that's troubling at this time. But we watch it very, very carefully. So overall, again, the current stance of monetary policy leaves us well positioned to respond in a timely way to economic developments, and for now, and we'll be watching the data carefully.
Well, just quickly on, given that, there are concerns inflation will rise, but there is the alternate scenario that tariffs would create demand destruction and slow growth sufficiently, and that would perhaps keep a bit of a lid on inflation. Do you see odds of that scenario? What kind of odds do you see of that scenario coming true, and how many months of cool inflation would you need to see before concluding that maybe that lower inflation scenario is taking place?
So this is very much the conversation we had today and yesterday. There are many, many different scenarios, many combinations of scenarios where inflation does or doesn't prove out to be at the levels we think, and where the labor market does or doesn't soften. And I think what you see people doing is looking ahead at a time of very high uncertainty and writing down what they think the most likely case is. No one holds these rate paths with a great deal of conviction, and everyone would agree that they're all going to be data dependent, and that you can make a case for any of the rate paths, I think, that you see in the SEP. And we do this once a quarter. It's a hard thing to do particularly at this time, but it does reflect, if you see somebody writing down a rate path that involves cuts, that's them saying, yes, I think we will get to a place, more likely than not, where cuts will be appropriate. And it could be a joint probability of a number of possible outcomes. Again, remember how much uncertainty we face, though.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I wonder if you could describe for us some of those scenarios. How do you get to a place? I'm noticing that the uncertainty levels in your forecast are very high. How do you get to a place where you have the confidence in the outlook for, say, inflation and or growth or the unemployment rate? How many months does it take, and what do you want to see in the data to get to that level of confidence to actually reduce rates off the restrictive level?
So it's very, very hard to say when that will happen. We know that the time will come. It could come quickly. It could not come quickly. As long as the economy is solid, though, as long as we're seeing the kind of labor market that we have and reasonably decent growth and inflation moving down, we feel like the right thing to do is to be where we are, where our policy stance is, and just learn more. And in particular, we feel like we're going to learn a great deal more over the summer on tariffs. We hadn't expected them to show up much by now, and they haven't. And we will see whether, to the extent to which they do over coming months. And I think that's going to inform our thinking, for one thing. In addition, we'll see how the labor market progresses. So at some point, it will become clear. I can't tell you exactly when that will be. And meanwhile, we'll be watching the labor market very carefully for signs of weakness and strength, and tariffs for signs of what's going to happen there. And of course, there are many developments ahead. Even in the near term, developments are expected on tariffs. So I think we don't yet know with any confidence where they will settle out. We have an estimate, and I think all estimates are now pretty close together, but it's highly uncertain.
When you say estimate of the impact of tariffs on the core PCE, is that what it is? And could you share that?
What you start with is what's the effective tariff rate overall, and people are managing to that. But the pass-through of tariffs to consumer price inflation is a whole process that's very uncertain. As you know, there are many parties in that chain. There's the manufacturer, the exporter, the importer, the retailer, and the consumer. And each one of those is going to be trying not to be the one to pay for the tariff. But together, they will all pay for it together, or maybe one party will pay it all. But that process is very hard to predict. And we haven't been through a situation like this. And I think we have to be humble about our ability to forecast it. So that's why we need to see some actual data to make better decisions. We'd like to get some more data. And again, in the meantime, we can do that because the economy remains in solid condition.
Nick Tamaros of the Wall Street Journal. Chair Powell, I guess I'm wondering if you could explain a little bit more the divergence we see in the dot plot, particularly around the 2025 rate projections. I realize this is, you have one group of officials that are putting down no cuts, another that are putting down more than one. And again, recognizing that could be difficult to summarize, but is it a matter of people having a different outlook or a different reaction function, a different commitment to defending against another inflation mistake? How did that play out over the last 2 days?
So you're right. This is often the case. We have a pretty healthy diversity of views on the committee. We did have strong support for today's decision and broad agreement that our policy stance does leave us in a good place. But I would point to two factors, and you mentioned them. The first is just that parties have a diversity of forecasts, and they do align with where their dots are. So if you have a higher inflation forecast, you're going to be less likely to be writing down, more cuts. But remember, as we see more data, we're going to learn more about where inflation is headed, and that means when it is time to look at resuming our normalization process, the differences you see should be smaller because we'll have seen actual data. Right now, it's just a forecast in a very foggy time. So that's the first part, is forecast. Secondly, people can look at the same data and they can evaluate the risks differently, as you know. And that includes, the risk of higher inflation, the risk that it'll be more persistent, the risk that the labor market will weaken. People are going to have different assessments of that risk. So that you put that in there too. So those are the two ways that the two things I think that drive these things. Remember though, as I mentioned earlier, with uncertainty as elevated as it is, no one holds these rate paths with a lot of conviction. So that's really where it is. It's a function of those things. And I think as the data come in, you should see those differences diminish.
If I could follow up, you've said the policy is in a good place and that it's modestly restrictive. Given all the uncertainty you just talked about, tariff levels, uncertainty around the pass-through, is it price increases versus margin compression, some of the softness that Chris talked about in labor and housing, why wouldn't it be better to have rates at a more neutral setting as the economy heads into this period of very high uncertainty?
So if you just look backward at the data, that's what you would say, but that's not, we have